Hey. Hope you guys are all well. So we're here, we're live. Welcome to my humble abode. Welcome to the Cabin of Truth. Hey, Claudia. Hey, everyone. So, Rich Callender here. We're going live, a little chat about stress, life management, building your toolbox. And we're gonna have some fun here. Hey, Marta. Hey, there's a lot of people in here. A lot of people I know. So come on in, say hi. Hope you guys are all well. Hope you guys can see me okay, can hear me okay. So what we're doing in a minute is going to introduce you guys to two ladies who are going to be joining me tonight. It's Claudia Feuvre, who is a close friend of mine. And she's a top nutritionist. She's an eating disorder psychologist. She's just amazing. And also I've got Pycroft, who is a psychotherapist, who's been talking to you about life management, stress management, and what we can do to help you cope with the things we're up against at the moment in life. So come along, join in. Hey, Tabitha. Good evening, everyone. So I know everyone gets caught up in this whole kind of evening, good evening, hi thing. I won't do too much of that, but what we'll say is grab a pen and paper, make sure you've got a cup of tea. It won't be a long chat because I know what it's like when people have like live chats that go on for ages. So this is going to be a nice, short, sharp one. But if you've got any questions, hit me up, pin them below, and we'll get involved. So let's see who's in here. Right. So Lee, welcome in. Where are you? Let's add Claudia as well. Accept. So hopefully.
Well, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I am very well. Lovely to see you. Hello, Claudia. Hello, Richard.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, ladies. Well, hey, first and foremost, thank you for joining me tonight, especially on this Sunday evening. Claudia, I'll just give you a quick intro. Lee, give everyone a quick intro. So before we go into everything else, I want people to know who you are, what we do. I was mentioned to everyone the fact that we all come from very similar sort of health and psychological backgrounds up to a point. So I want you guys to do is, if you don't mind, just give me a quick 20 seconds bio of who you are, Lee. Introduce yourself to the people. Go for it.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Lee Pycroft. I started my career working as a high-profile makeup artist. So I worked with a variety of different A-listers through to setting up a charitable initiative where I used makeovers as a form of self-care. And it was through seeing the transformation people went through when they were looking after their appearance that I retrained as a psychotherapist. Now I work in the areas of one-to-one therapy and in corporate well-being, as well as in the beauty and wellness arena. Yeah, so that's me. So thank you for joining me tonight, or for me joining you and everyone else joining us.
All right, so everyone joining us, all this one together. Love that. So awesome. It's nice and succinct. So now, Claudia, again, if anyone who doesn't know who you are, tell us who you are.
Super succinct. My name's Claudia. I'm a nutritional therapist, eating psychology coach with 15 years clinical experience. I know we're talking about stress tonight, and I just want to say the juggle is real.
Yeah,
absolutely, because I'm also co-founder of Mighty Green, which is an amazing supplement company, and I run the Nutrition for Goldster, which is a platform for over 55-year-olds, and I have 2 teenagers.
Yes. I'm a 24-year-old and a 16-year-old as well. I'm right with you.
Wow. I've got a 6-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You've got a way to go yet, Richard.
Yeah, a long way to go. So, in short, I mean, I want to go straight into this because we've got a lot of people who logged on and probably wondering what this live is about. And like I said, what I'm trying to do going forward is not just focus on just fitness, because people know me for fitness, but not enough people know about my belief in the fact that mindset dictates most things. Okay, so mindset dictates movement as far as I'm concerned. You get people in the right frame of mind, they want to move. But that frame of mind dictates so much. So I didn't want to title it as about just stress, but what I do want to do is, with your help get the viewers to connect, talk to us about their experiences, and let's see if we can help give them a few tools they can take away and go, actually, that's what I do. That's who I am. What can I do to undo some of the stresses, or at least cope with stresses better? So if you don't mind me asking, I'm just going to throw it out there quickly. What does stress, without it being the dictionary definition of stress, what does stress mean to you, Lee? Go.
So I would say stressors, right, are the things that stress us out, and stress is the physiological or psychological response to those stressors. So when something stresses us out, right, it's really the alarm system going off in the body, and that will be individual and dependent somewhat on someone's perception of those stressors. That makes sense.
Love it. So what I love about that is the fact that it's very specific to the person, because again, I think a lot of people fail to grasp the understanding that one small thing might not be a big thing to somebody else, but to somebody else, that small thing is a big thing. And I think it's like people going, oh, I'm tired of a long day at work. And someone might say, yeah, but you only do that for a living. I do this. And they're trying to compare apples to oranges. It's like, it doesn't matter about what you might necessarily do for a living. It's how you take on that stress, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. And it's the layering effect of that. You might have lots of little stressors that build up, or you might have a huge stressor that comes along. And especially after the pandemic, some people have encountered some of the most difficult life stressors, you know, loss, prolonged uncertainty, this kind of thing, you know, relationship difficulties, job loss, you know, economic factors, and all of these, you know, people have had to go through all at once almost. So if anyone is feeling stressed out or anxious or in a low mood, then that is actually quite normal given what we've gone through. And it can be, as we say, you know, some people will come through it with more ease depending on their environmental factors, which is, you know, something we can dig into a bit.
Oh, absolutely. And so, Claudia, going down the same route, how do you see it from a nutritional point of view? Again, touch on the psychology of it all. How do you view stress and where we are right now?
So it's keeping the juggle in balance, really, and preventing the burnout. That's where nutrition can help. We can help the body cope with the excesses of the adrenaline and the cortisol flooding, and we can help support the adrenals. We can come onto that, but it's basically helping people, you know, stay in a comfortable zone where the stresses are still adventures, and they don't feel like overwhelming burdens.
So, I mean, I totally agree with you, because I mean, what I find in the fitness aspect, a lot of people feel pressure, especially with social media, they feel pressure to have to move, to have to do a certain amount of workouts, a certain amount of steps, a certain amount of eating, a certain amount of thought processes. And so it feels like people are almost starting the day stressed, and then the layering effect of their day-to-day life just impacted. So you get people getting towards the end of the day where, again, that adrenal response, where they're just exhausted, people going, and they don't know where to look. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that people are loading themselves with way too much. I don't know what you guys think, but from my point of view with my clients and people I work with, it's that we've always had that fight or flight kind of situation, which most people understand up to a point. But you also get that frozen aspect. So not only do you have the fight or flight, there's that frozen where people don't know what they're going to do. So there's a fear of things, there's a fear of getting away from things, and there's a fear of just paralysis through analysis. And so I think stress inhibits so many people in so many different ways. So from a toolbox point of view, so if we were going to say, well, okay, let's try and give people a couple of tools to put in their toolbox right now, give me a few things that people could do that they might identify with right now that they could sort of incorporate into their lifestyle to start helping them cope with stress a bit better.
Do you want to go, Claudia? I'll go. You go on, Claudia. You go first.
Okay. Well, I kind of see it like a bank account, Rich. So when we're putting in deposits, we're putting in good, nourishing food. Maybe we're putting in some CBD to help calm the system. Maybe we're putting in some lovely yoga or Pilates or whatever it is that's going to calm your system down. And then the withdrawals, the taking out, are the stressors. And so we're always trying to. We all have an overdraft. But a lot of us are teetering at the end of that overdraft. So it's about getting the balance right. And it's individual for each person, but you know, there are many ways to help top up those adrenals. We know that stress, sugar, alcohol, inflammatory foods, they all suppress. From a nutritional point of view, they create more stress on the body. So we want to be looking at nourishing and calming the system down.
So obviously we don't demonize any foods as such.
No.
But what we are saying, and I know you're a massive advocate of that, same as me. I don't like to demonize foods as such. I like to almost like demonize the behaviors that get you there rather than the food themselves. But what I don't even want to say demonize,
No.
but so if we're going to say, for example, when people go, yeah, but what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to have sugar or not have sugar. I'm supposed to have meat, not have meat. I'm supposed to have alcohol, not have alcohol. What would you say is that biting point? What one liner would you say to them to say, here's where you should be to know that you're doing the right thing for you?
It's all about tuning into your own body and almost knowing what you can get away with and what you can't. There's some days when you can go and have a big night out and you feel great. You know, you don't pay the price so much. And there are others where it's just like, it's just too much for your system almost.
And you're bankrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
you paid the bank and you wake up next morning, you're like, okay, I'm in my overdraft, I'm almost bankrupt. Lord have mercy. So,
I think the other interesting point about this is that why is someone moving towards a certain behavior? Why is someone going for a certain food? Why is someone being drawn to a certain behavior, a way of being? And at the crux of all of it, the reason why we do anything is really in a way to get our emotional needs met. And our emotional needs are our sort of deepest psychological needs for safety and security, autonomy and control, for connection, for attention, for status, for meaning and purpose, for accomplishment, for privacy, for being part of something, for a sense of belonging. And everything we do, because these are based on emotions and instincts, everything we do is to really in some way meet one of those needs, right? So if we're going for food that is not helpful for us, what's underneath that? What are we looking to satisfy? And I think that, you know, at the basis of everything I do, I'll sort of look at someone and say, well, what needs perhaps are not being met in this person's environment that's causing them to feel stressed? You know, it's causing this alarm signal, because someone will override their values of what's important to them. Maybe they know intellectually, actually, this is a really good meal for me to eat, but emotionally, I'm not feeling that, because emotions are stronger than logical thoughts. And if someone's in a state of high emotion, they're not going to be thinking rationally. They're going to be thinking in extremist, all or nothing terms, right? Yes. And one of the things is if we can understand what our emotional needs are, and what is it that helps me feel safe and secure? What is it that gives me a sense of control? What is it that I need in terms of intimacy with my friends and connection? And when we take it down to that grassroots level and apply it to our life, that's really starts to open up a question, well, why am I behaving like this? And what would be more helpful? And how can I get these needs met in the environment where I am?
Love that.
Absolutely. And there's a great tool actually that I use to help people recognize this. It's called the hunger scale. Do you know it, Lee? Maybe
no,
you
but
use
it sounds fantastic, because it's like an emotional hunger sometimes, isn't it?
Yes. Well, when it's an emotional hunger, you're not going to feel full.
No.
After you get to the point where you just feel sick. But what you can do with the hunger scale is before you eat, you rate your hunger. Like where's my tummy? Is like 10 is absolutely full and 0 is totally empty. Where am I physically? And it's learning to tune in with that physical side of things. And often people will oscillate from like 8 to 10, or oh my gosh, I've eaten so much, I'm never eating again. So then they go down to 0 or 1. And actually the people who have a sort of more balanced relationship with food tend to oscillate between 4 and 7. You know, they don't let themselves get too hungry, and they don't let themselves get too full.
What's interesting about that, Claudia, are those people that you sort of worked with, do the rest of their parts of their life, components of their life, like the social connection, like the emotional needs I'm talking about, are those more in balance for those people than the people that are on the extreme level? You know, because when we have that sense of social connection, we're not feeling lonely, we're not going home eating necessary things that are not helpful, or drinking too much, or you know, vegging out in front of Netflix or whatever it might be. Not that I'm demonising Netflix. No, never. It was just a next episode. I tell you.
But what you're saying there is absolutely true. And like going back through my catalogue of clients over the years, again, stripping away about what they want. They come to us as trainers or therapists, whatever, with that need or that want, and you're like, actually, you're on the top layer, but you're talking about the effect here. What's the cause? And I keep going back to context. You've heard me saying for years about cause and effect. Typically, we keep trying to treat the effect all the time, where we should be trying to treat the cause, because the effect will keep coming back around. So, I mean, I'm sure we've all been in a situation. I've got clients who I've seen over the years who come into this or approach me wanting to be a certain way, whether it be either bigger, smaller, whichever the case would be. But once you strip down through the layers, it's 9 times out of 10 an emotional trigger that's got them there. And once you can strip it back, It might be, as you said, their environment. It might be a relationship. It might be their job. It might be a level of self-worth that's missing. And quite often it manifests itself in their behavior, as in more often than not manifests itself. And so we look at someone's behavior and you go, okay, you need a certain routine. You need a certain framework. When you step outside that framework, it's chaos. And that's why some people can deal with having like fitness programs or nutritional programs. Some people will rebel against it immediately. And the rebelling is like, that's a trigger in itself. So as these things happen, that's what I love about people, because there's locks and keys everywhere. You go, you reacted that way. I'm not going to worry about the reaction. I want to know what caused it. Does that make sense? And that's what I love.
And so often I see that, you know, something's missing. So like Lee's saying, they're missing security, they're missing love, they're missing something. But there's also the other side where I see a lot of people where they just need to zone out. Like they've had a hard day. They just don't want to think. They want to go into that food coma, because literally the brain will, the blood will drain and it will go to the digestive system with a full stomach. And that whole, you know, so it's so individual, isn't it? It's working out what's needed for that person sitting in front of you.
Oh, so love it. So if I was to say to you, give me 2 quick things that people could take away from today and go, right, I'm going to throw that into my arsenal as things that, as general as you can, because obviously we can't be specific about things right now, but as general things, whether it be a food thing or a behavioral thing. Lee, hit me with 2 things that people could do to start identifying or allowing themselves to cope with stress mechanisms.
Okay, so you need to use the body to calm the mind. One of the quickest ways is, according to Stanford University, to use a particular breathing style is called the physiological sigh. And that basically means a pattern of breathing that we do naturally. If you ever watch someone sob, Richard, and they're sobbing, then they go, like that, right?
Yeah.
And basically the double inhalation intakes the maximum oxygen and offloads the maximum carbon dioxide. You have these tiny little sacs of air coating your lungs, and it inflates them to maximum capacity and offloads the most carbon dioxide. It's the build-up of carbon dioxide that signals a stress response. Now, if you are feeling in your body that you are stressed, you're in high emotion, you're feeling triggered, then doing the physiological sigh will be one of the quickest ways for you to calm down. Now, once you calm down, and also you, Richard, of all people, will know, using your body, shake it off, move, dance, do something, you know, because we're being asked, our body is being urged to do something. And that's why, you know, often we're sitting at our desk, twiddling our thumbs, or our mouth might be twitching because we want to tell someone what we think. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So some sort of movement or breath work. And also, I think the other thing that can be really helpful is when we are feeling stressed, it's very easy to think of all the things we don't want to have happen. And I always like to use a miracle question. Was if I woke up tomorrow morning and things had started to change, what will be different? How will I be standing? What would be the first thing I would do that would move me towards and through this challenge? How would I be standing? What would I be looking like? What would sort of things I'd be saying to myself? Because we can create an environment with the words we use, right? If I'm constantly talking about how terrible things are and I'm just awful at this and I'm such a lousy person and why did I get that wrong and I'm such an idiot, I'm going to feel that, right? But if I start saying to myself, you know, in a way that I can tolerate, because people with very low self-esteem, if you start saying affirmations that are too extreme, they're not going to believe them. So, you know, little ones that are manageable, that mean something to you, that start working you towards a solution rather than being caught up in a tailwind of high emotion and negativity.
Love it. 2 great takeaways there. And we're going to come back and dissect a few bit of those before we move on, but I like it. Claudia, hit me with a couple of tools that people can add to their toolbox.
I'm going to share an amazing tool with you called ritualizing the binge. So this is for anyone who's overeating or binging, just following on from what we were saying. And as Lee was saying, when you're in that state of stress, you're in a highly acidic stress state. And the first thing we do is we light a candle, we put on music, we calm the system down. We don't deny ourselves the food that we're craving, because what we resist persists. However, there's one rule. We decant into a beautiful bowl. Buy yourself a bowl, a lovely ceramic bowl that's just yours. And this is, so we're taking away the shame, any shame around overeating or binging as well. And you put your food into a beautiful bowl, you move over, you sit on your freshly plumped cushions on your sofa with your music, calming music, no television allowed. And I mean, of course, when we're in that state, it's very easy to wolf down the food. So we want to try and eat it as slowly as we can. And you say to yourself, it's okay, I can go back and I can put more in the bowl if I want to. But by using this technique, it's so simple, it's so clever. It really reduces how much you eat in an episode and the frequency of the episodes as well.
Oh, nice. Love
Lovely.
that.
Love that.
It's a beautiful technique. I learned this actually in Colorado, the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. It was fantastic.
Great.
Works every time.
Again, so I would say people who are watching this, whenever you're watching this, whether it be today, tomorrow, whatever time, try these tips. I want to throw just one in there, and it's a simple one, and people go, oh yeah, and I'm just going to say the word sleep.
Oh, totally.
Okay?
That's the basis of everything. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. It's such a simple thing, and so many people go, what? And you go, come on, it is. It's like stage one. It's something that's so, it shouldn't even be an issue. But it really has become an issue. It's become an issue because we have like social media and people who are entrepreneurs or people who are successful sort of trying to sell the sizzle that, hey, while you're sleeping, someone else is doing better than you. And it perpetuates that myth. And people are like, yeah, no. And fatigue and you know what, tiredness has such a massive impact on you from a physiological point of view, hormonal point of view, physical point of view. And all I'll say to people is, do me a favor. Don't wait until you're burnt out to rest. Rest beforehand. Treat yourself like a child, if necessary. I mean, if you haven't got children, look at people who have got children. They have routine up until bedtime. Create a routine. Being a grown-up doesn't mean that you have to go to bed after 10 p.m. or after 11 p.m. just because you're a grown-up. If you want to go to bed at 9 p.m., you're not missing much, honestly. So go to bed, get the rest, and then you can embrace life. So my tip is, whether it be the 7-hour sleep, the 8 hours sleep, if you can get it, try and allocate certain days in the week as often as you can, where you can just go to bed early, connect with your partner, use your bedroom for one of two things only, which is sleep or intimacy. Forget about the TV for a while, okay? Get that rest, and your perception about everything will change in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what you guys agree. If you guys agree,
Totally.
It's a simple thing because it's a trigger for how you think, it's a trigger for how you eat, it's also a trigger for how much you want to move. So
basis of everything.
Yeah, it really is. So I want to talk to you because I think we're all in that situation where COVID has affected everyone in so many different ways. There's people, as you mentioned before, there's people out there who've suffered from failed relationships or tough relationships. Domestic abuse numbers have gone through the absolute roof. People aren't taking care of themselves when they're trying to. They've got financial burdens. They're worrying about the health and safety of themselves, their family, friends. There's so much angst right now, but I don't know if it's the saving grace, but we're all going through it at the same time. What do you think we could do to make our lives a bit smoother in the run-up to Christmas, which is another typically stressful time?
Lower expectations. Work from a place of appreciation rather than expecting anything. Yeah, and I think keep it small.
Say it now. Say it proud. Say that again. So I think people need to go and get a pen and paper and write that down. Say it again.
Lower expectations. Work from a place of appreciation. And I think that it's the expectations we set, and we take on other people's expectations that then when they're unmet, it causes, us to be upset about things. Just be grateful for what's in front of us, and just keep expectations low, keep it small, step by step. That would be my biggest advice around Christmas. Yeah.
Love it. Claudia?
Yeah. Oxygen mask on you as well. In order to support everyone else around you, we need to prioritize ourselves as well with the sleep, with the nutrition, with our supplement program, whatever we're choosing to do. Look after ourselves too.
Yeah, it really is that oxygen masking. So I think so many people are like, I need to help everyone else. It's like, yeah, but you can't be useful to everyone else if you're not taking care of yourself. And I think especially people who are parents or have people who depend on them, whether it be in a professional capacity or personal capacity, they feel like they need to burn the candle both ends to prove a point. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to know what your triggers are. I think most of us know what our triggers are, but not everyone will want to admit it to other people because they'll think it's perception of weakness. But I don't know if you agree. I think you need to let people know what your weaknesses are, so they know that when you're struggling, even if you can't say it, they'll recognize it. And when they recognize it, they'll make the allowances for you, so you don't have to keep going with like the begging bowl and say, please bear with me. They'll go, we know you're under stress. Does that make sense? I just think there's this whole ego-led level where there's a lot of people out there who are telling people they're stressed. And there's a lot of people saying, no, but if I tell them people I'm stressed, it's a sign of weakness. That in itself is a sign of weakness. What do you think?
Definitely not a sign of weakness. If you, I mean, asking for help is a sign of courage. It's a sign of also giving permission for other people to do the same. When I can be open with you two, when I can connect with you on a more human level, rather than what I think I should be doing because of what we're told culturally, or we're sold a big transformation, or we're told we should be doing X, Y, and Z. If I can be real with you and say, actually, right now I'm struggling, can you help me? Not only there's loads of research to show that when we help each other, actually everyone benefits, right? You know, when we do acts of service, that's why you take programs like 12-step programs, you know, Alcoholics Anonymous, stuff like that. One of the biggest things is acts of service, you know, be of service to people. And that is where we connect on a much deeper level, because we're going back to the emotional needs part. When we have this sense of status, if status becomes too grand, and you see it a lot now, because, you know, you see these big transformations and the status comes a lot of attention. And then that comes with a whole lot of expectations about how I need to be in order to get that status. But underneath that, more than anything, people want to feel loved, and they want to feel connected, and they want to feel safe with each other. And that's where the depth that's programmed into us, you know. And sometimes people will go for that big status position. And I've done it myself when I was working with tons of celebrities and painting faces and going all over the world in private jets. I thought if I could achieve enough, then I'll be loved. Then I'll get a nice boyfriend. Didn't work out like that though. It wasn't until I kind of, wasn't until I kind of got out of my own way and realized, actually, this stuff I'm pretending, I'm hiding my vulnerabilities. I'm hiding the stuff that I want to bring out and think, you know, if I show this to people, will they still care about me? You know, and actually, the more I did it, the more I unlearned those old patterns of behavior that half the time I didn't know I was running. But once I realized, and they were in my line of awareness, I started undoing them. Then life started to look very different, and relationships look very different, and so forth. Yeah.
Love it. Claudia?
And I also think, you know, here we are in November. I think it can be especially hard for men to ask for help. And, you know, half of, you know, women have, you know, way more GP appointments than men. And when I'm working with men, it's I'm always really watching out for as they're leaving, oh, just one thing. And it's often that last thing, you know, that they were, you know, that's the main reason they came, but they don't mention it till the very, very end.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Hey, I've been there, and yeah, I'm like, I actually came about this, but I'm speaking about this, yeah, and totally. And I think from a male perspective, mental health and mental wealth, shall we say, crosses boundaries. So it's not just a female thing, it's not just a male thing, it's all genders, all cultures, all races, all ages. And I think once people can get to a point, I've got friends I can phone up, male friends, and go, dude. And they'll be like, dude. And I can have a conversation and go, you know what? I'm tired. I got really emotional about this, blah, blah, blah. And I can go vent. And there's a few of these people I can do that with. And I'm like, and those people are like diamonds. And there's like some of my female friends are the same. And I think there's still this, for some of my friends, there's still this whole bravado that I know they're struggling. And I'm there to ask the question, but they're not coming forth with it. And I can't hammer it out of them. So I'm like, okay, I have to leave you and hope that at some point you come to, if not me, to somebody. But I think guys, if you're listening out there, any guys out there, and even ladies who all got friends or family, reach out. And sometimes you don't have to badger them. This one thing I'll say, sometimes guys, we don't want to be badgered to open up, okay? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just need to be present, connect with us, and we'll open the doors once we feel safe and secure. And that's just a
Listen.
full generalization, but sometimes just being present will allow us to do it, if that makes sense.
Totally. It's about listening, isn't it? It's about open-ended questions. It's about just reflective listening, really. You know, really listening. How are you? What's been going on? You know, how do you feel about that? What do you think about that? You know, rather than getting a yes, no answer, you're encouraging a curiosity. And also, you know, when each person, especially in relationships, can keep their own sort of physiological arousal level down when they're having these conversations, that are sometimes take some courage to open up, because there's a fear around, if someone sees me, what will that mean then? You know? But actually, it's that sort of being able to hold space for each other, being able to show that vulnerability and let that be as it is. It's part of being human, isn't it? You know?
I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say this. Vulnerability is sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
I'm going to say it because
I ain't
honestly,
getting that in a t-shirt.
yeah, hey, but it's true. But vulnerability is sexy. I'm sorry. I'm yet to meet people that have opened up to me where I've gone, actually, I get you, and I've gone, actually, there isn't a facade, there isn't a barrier, or there isn't a wall to have to go over. They've opened up. I've gone, yeah, and I've connected with people who've opened up, and I've gone, I love that, and that in its essence is sexy as hell, because that connection is genuine.
And you know what you're also doing is, when someone's allowed to speak and be heard, and I'm having a conversation with you, and you're sort of almost reflectively listening to me, so I know I've been heard. I'm completing an emotional loop. And what happens when someone keeps things pent up, it's like lots of unfinished emotional threads in the mind whirring around. You know, when that happens too much, and people worry and they're not expressing themselves, and they're concerned about things and in distress, you know, it can lead to sort of over dreaming. You know, and because the brain is there to dream at night, to sort of solve all these unfinished emotional threads or emotional arousals from the day, right? And this is why when someone, you know, goes into a depressive state, they're basically having too much dream sleep and not enough slow wave sleep. So being able to have these conversations with each other, that's why people come to therapy, you know, for a start, because they can start to feel heard and these loops start to close, you know. So the more we can do that with each other, and the more we can hold space for each other without passing commentary, without saying, you know, this is what you should do, which is a very important component, and without adding drama to it or fueling it. This is why you've got to pick the people who you share at a deep level with, who can just hold the space unless they're asked for their opinion. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's quite often, I mean, you'll be in a situation where you're talking about somebody and you know that they're itching to interject with a story about their past experience, and you're like, let me finish what I want to say, and it interrupts, and you're like, we're not connected here because you've stopped listening to me because you want to be heard. Whereas sometimes it's just nice to sit back and just go, say your piece. But if that connection doesn't happen naturally, that's where relationships, friendships, that rapport breaks down. And you've got one person going, I just needed you to listen to me. You weren't listening. You're in your own little head. And so I don't feel connected to you. And that's where that disparity occurs. And that's why I think, especially in COVID, where people were forced to be in the same household with people who they'd go into a routine of going, I operate here, you operate here, and we cross paths and connect here at these times in the day. Suddenly people have to try and connect non-stop throughout the whole day. And people are like, I'm not used to this. Who are you? And so, I mean, I want to talk about the human state in a moment, but what I want to do is I want to double back to the fact that I know you've got experience with this, Claudia, especially with like the CBD. So when it comes to like the balance of all these hormones, that kind of fight or flight scenario, again, it's not necessarily going to change the way people behave, but you mentioned about sleep, and I know that CBD has shown there's so much proof about how it can affect sleep. Talk to us about how you can improve people's sleep.
Yeah, so basically CBD can increase the REM, and people wake up feeling more refreshed afterwards. You know, it balances out the endocannabinoid system, so it also helps with dopamine and the calming neurotransmitters. Serotonin.
Homeostasis, is it, Claudia? It's bringing it back to your body.
Bringing it, yes,
balance,
and
really?
exactly. And the endocannabinoid system controls homeostasis. It's only been discovered in the 1990s. So this is all still very new science. But you know, the reason people take CBD, the main reason is anxiety, pain, insomnia. Those are the top three. So,
right,
hugely successful with
I don't come from insomnia or anything, but what I will say is the other day I was training quite hard. I've been training quite hard recently, and after my other half, I was like, "Can you put some of the?" Because I had obviously the Mighty Green CBD muscle balm, the one with eucalyptus. That's the one, and I was like, "You put it on my shoulder." And so she puts on my shoulder, and I was like, actually, while you're there, can you do this on my neck? And so it went on my shoulder, up my neck, on both sides. I mean, I made the room smell like potpourri. I was walking around like smelling minty fresh. But no word of a lie, this was, so today's Sunday, so it was Thursday. I crashed out and slept like an absolute baby for the first time in feels like ages. I woke up the next morning, Friday morning, like I hit the ground. My clients that morning got hammered because I woke up in. And it's one of the best sleeps I've had for ages. So I put it on a couple of times since, just on my neck, and that's where I hold my attention. And no word of a lie, that's going to be my go-to on weekends now, guaranteed. Because it was such a simple thing. It smelled nice, but it felt like it worked. And it might be psychosomatic up to a point, but I did sleep deeper and longer than I had done for a long time. So I'm like, that's going to be part of my regime going forward, guaranteed now.
Rich, I have it on my bedside table. This is what I do before I go to bed. Absolutely, the neck, the shoulders.
Yeah. It worked. So I would say, speak to Claudia after this about the CBD, the Mighty Green stuff, because it does work. And it's not a big advert in the slightest, because we will talk to you about all kind of health. But I would say, hit Claudia up and get it because it works. So I want to end on a. So I don't want to end it because we can talk about this for hours. I think we have to come back and do this again.
We have to do one on relationships, about people communicating in relationships. Do one on your face.
Meeting. No, let's do that.
Because when you were talking about,
I think
when you were talking about people, being in the pandemic and the communication style, that between, I'm going to say, people who identify with being men, people who identify with being women, or whoever you identify with, but the different communication styles can really cause issues with people. And generally speaking, people identify with male wanted to solve the problem and the female wants to just be heard.
Yeah. So
anyway,
hey, I would say, if anyone's listening out here, in the comments right now, whenever you listen to it, write, yes, we need that relationship talk, because we'll bring it in. And there's also someone else I'll bring into this conversation. I think it might be a foursome on this one, but I think that could be a big one, because I think it needs to be heard. Because I think there's so many people out there who think that their relationships are broken, and they might not be broken, they just might be flexing under tension.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people out there who don't recognize what's happening, and it's a question of communication and connection, and even intimacy. All these things, people get to a certain age and go, well, I'm over that now. Got the kids, got the job, where let's not this. And you go, part of the problem is people behave a certain way to get into their relationship, and then they stop. So they go,
exactly. I have my pipe and slippers, and that's it now.
There you go.
None of that nasty stuff.
That's exactly it. They're like, but it's funny because I don't know if you guys know, but I mean, you got friends and friends of all both sexes who, when they're single, make an effort. They're going out, they're looking the part. The ladies doing their hair, nails, everything. And as soon as you get into a relationship, some people tend to drop that bar, and they're like, why should I wear that? Why should I do this? And you're like, wow, you set the bar here, and now whoever it is, male or female, have dropped the bar to in that comfort zone, and they're like, things have changed. It's like, well, yeah, because you came in here, and reality is you actually live here. There's a gap. So, yeah, it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good. So, ladies, as a parting sort of gambit, what do you think we could do better as a society about how we cope with, not as a general, what do you think we could do better as individuals to make our lives a bit easier?
Well, for me, it's factoring in small, achievable steps every day, things that I can have, a little bit of rest, things that bring me joy, social connection, foods that are healthy, water, sleep. It's small things, just each day, factoring them in, not these great big things. I'm going to take a holiday in the Maldives and then all my problems will be solved. Although that would be nice. It's just small steps. And just one thing I want to say about the sleep part is, especially as the evenings are drawing in, to go out in the morning and to get sunlight in your eyes within 2 hours of sunrise to help set your circadian clock, your master circadian clock, and avoid light, especially overhead light in the evening, because the cells in your eyes that absorb the light are actually located in the lower part of the eye. So overhead lights are not good. So side lights, low lights, red lights, pretty good because you can see around in the bathroom if you're doing your cleansing ritual, putting on your face cream, whatever in the evening. But really daylight within 2 hours of sunrise, even if it's overcast, 10 to 15 minutes, take a walk outside. It will help you with your sleep, with your mood, everything. So that would be my, my ears popped out. Well, not my ear, my earbud. Yeah, so that would be what I would suggest, my
Love it.
thing that I would do.
Love it.
I would suggest that we move out of our heads and into our bodies, because a lot of us are living in our heads, especially when we're stressed. We're in our heads. We're disconnected from our appetites. We disconnect from pain in our bodies. I mean, Rich, you must know all about this as being so body aware as a personal trainer. But I see a lot of people who are literally, it's like their head is on a platter. I know that sounds really strange. And we're trying to reconnect people with their bodies. So tuning in.
Totally.
Love that.
Yeah.
And my,
a bit random.
No, it makes perfect sense, because we're hearing it from so many different ways. Again, I've mentioned it before when Lee and I spoke previously. It's almost like a triangle. I'm going to hear it from the fitness point of view, where I'm saying so many people put themselves under pressure to look a certain way, feel a certain way, to almost do their HIIT workouts and smash themselves to pieces. No, just do something. Again, it's that moderation thing. Don't pitch it too big. Start small and get some good wins. Get some small wins all the way. So rather than thinking, oh, I need to go and do 5 hours of hard workouts this week, you know what? If you can get out for a few good walks, get some fresh air, get some daylight, okay, catch up with some friends, try and get off the work phone, just try and move as, I'm going to say holistically, but move in different ways. It doesn't have to be a gym workout, throwing weights around the kettlebells. If anyone watches me and watches my stories, for example, I'm throwing things around, but at the same time, I'm stretching, balancing, dancing. I want you guys to be taking care of yourself. So self-care is it. And that self-care, it starts with the simple things as your regimes, okay? Whatever regimes you have, whether it be brushing your teeth, if you do that every day, you can fit some sort of movement into your day, however small. Take care of your skin. Okay, take care of your skin, because when you look good, you feel good. If you're doing, it's that simple. It really is that simple. You strip everything back, eat well, move, think well, surround yourself with a good tribe, and you'll go far.
Absolutely. The inside affects the outside affects the inside. It's a two-way conversation, you know. And I know that especially from coming from the makeup world and the beauty world, and now working on a more sort of psychological level, and also combining the two in some of my events. So I think it's, you know, definitely a lot to be said for that. But yeah, what a great conversation.
Oh, this is good.
Lovely to meet you.
I mean, we're definitely doing this again, because we're going to talk about relationships and other things, but I think we're definitely going to do this. But what I will say is, anyone who's watching right now, you need to follow these two ladies. So please let everyone know what your handles are. Lee, what's your handle?
At Lee Pycroft.
There we go. And Claudia?
At Claudia Lefebvre.
So I'll tag you ladies in this. And also, if you're not following this, if you guys have shared this, follow me. I'm at Rich Callender. But please, if you've got any questions, hit me up with them. Hit the ladies with them. And if you have enough relevant questions, we'll answer them individually, or we'll do this again at some point soon, and we'll take it bigger and better. But the main thing is, I want you guys to introduce you to the ladies. This is our chance to help you with your toolbox to think better, move better, eat better. I don't know what better is. Sorry?
Feel better.
And feel better. So it's a real simple one. Also, I think the overarching thing is try and strip everything back. Keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. Don't get caught up in what you see on social media, because social media isn't always real. But just be kind to yourself and others, but be kind to you first and start from there.
Any
Ladies,
questions, anyone?
Any questions? Yeah, hit me. Hit us. If you've got any questions.
Let's see.
Anyone got any questions before we go?
That's good. Oh, thank you. I'm going to get close to my screen, so I've got my contacts in. Any questions, anyone? I've seen lots of people saying nice, lots of joins, and yes, 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 and the fear of failure and the fear of success. Hey, we're getting lots of interaction. Lots of people are saying their love hearts and waves. So
Yeah.
Yay,
I'm
thank
loving
you.
that.
Lovely.
Really kind of you, that. So it doesn't want any questions. I think everyone's kind of going, hey, this is cool. Let's do it again. So next time, everyone, we'll let you guys know in advance. We'll pick a topic. We'll do this again. We have more special guests. But I think we've got lots of unfinished business here. Don't you agree, ladies?
Yes.
Definitely. It was lovely. I really enjoyed spending some time with you both. And thank you for inviting me along. And thank you for everyone that watches this or was on now or watches it in the future. Appreciate that.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, thank you. And what I will say is, Claudia, because you're being kind, can we get like a family discount for anyone who's like, because the Mighty Green stuff works. So I'm just saying my followers deserve a little something, you know what I mean?
Yes. So, okay. So Rich, for 48 hours only, there's a coupon code, which is IG20 on mightygreen.co.uk, but feel free to DM me and I'll share you all the details. But IG20,
also check out the
IG20.
moisturizer, everyone, because the moisturizer is fantastic.
Yeah.
So
we've got an anti-aging face cream. And that is high praise coming from Lee. It's amazing.
Very hydrating, very soothing. So I think it would be good on sensitive type skin that is just, feeling a bit of the winter sort of dry, tends to be a bit drier towards winter. So I think it's great unisex product as well. I think won't work on anyone. Very light on the skin, very light to apply, but very nourishing. So yeah.
Oh,
thank you so much, Lee. Thank you.
You've got me.
Honoured to have your feedback. Thank you.
I know, I'm loving that. Can I just say, Christmas is coming, people. So use IG20. Is that the code? IG20. Go to Mighty Greens. Get your facial stuff. If there's anyone who thinks that they know someone who they love and they care about, okay, or your boss, buy it now. You'll get bonus points. Trust me.
Yeah. And anyone in pain for the bar.
And anyone in pain as well, yeah. So look at the Mighty Green range. But what I'll say is, everyone, follow these ladies. It's been an absolute pleasure. Ladies, take care of yourselves. Everyone who's watching, thank you for your time. I'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.